Hmm. Now it's time to start working. Okay, let's see then. Let's start the questions then. Hmm. Universal containers wants to automatically assign new cases to appropriate support representatives based on a case origin. They have created a custom field on case object to store the support representative name. What's the best solution to assign the keys to appropriate support representative? Hmm. Let me see. Investment intelligence automatic assign the case to appropriate support representative based on the case origin. We have created custom field on the case object to store the representative name. What's the best solution to assign the case to appropriate support representative? The first time I'm going to see this question, but like I would probably use a flow to make the assignment. There is a oh, right option to this one flow. Use a trigger on the case object. Okay, okay, okay. So that's best answer. Not a problem. Hmm. Let me see. Universal containers is the custom object called vendor. The vendor custom object has a master key relationship with the standard account object. Based on some internal discussions, universal containers administrators tried to change the master detail relationship to a lookup relationship, but was not able to do so. What's the possible reason that this change was not permitted? In fact, I never used master master detail relationship. I would say something about it's not possible to change you know the object. The account object has a roll up summary field on vendor object. Has one or more roll up summary fields that aggregate data from the vendor object. Restrictions for converting master detail. Salesforce strict enforce this restriction because roll-up summary fields only function in a master detail relationship. Roll-up summary fields. These fields are defined in the master object and summarize data from the details record, such as counting the number of late vendors or calculating the minimum maximum sum of the fields of vendor records. Problem. If the relationship were converted to a lookup, the roll-up summary fields on the account object would lose their required data source that would stop functionally, leading the data integrity issues. That's it.
Hello everyone and welcome to the channel.
Related to the channel. Let's see.
and welcome to the channel. In this video, we will see how to convert master data relationship into the lookup relationship in Salesforce. Before moving ahead, here we would like to inform you that we have recently launched a Salesforce admin course specially for Salesforce administrator, and if you are clicking on the link, and because of MDR, we can use roll-up summary fields to master relationship via the link in the description box. Let's jump to the our topic. So, why do you need to convert the master data relationship into the lookup relationship in Salesforce? In Salesforce, we can create only two master data relationship per object, and because of MDR, we can use roll-up summary fields. Also, sometimes it's not important to have master data relationship on the object. So instead of that, we can convert it into the lookup relationship. So very important thing, while converting the master data relationship into the lookup, we should consider that if we have any created roll-up summary field on the parent object, we need to delete that field permanently, or else the master data relationship will not convert into the lookup relationship. Now we will see practically on the Salesforce org. You can see I am on the home page. Now I will show you the object where I have created the master data relationship. Here is my app, Bank CRM. This is the bank account where the customer creates account, and here is the transaction object where we store all customers transactions. I am clicking on new button. Here you can see the transaction ID is at a number, account holder name. As I click on this lookup box, you can see the all customers name appeared. I am clicking on this Alex Anderson, entering the amount. Transaction type is deposit amount. I am clicking on a save button. Here you can see the transaction ID is generated T0021. As I click on a bank account, then go to the Alex Anderson, and in the related record, you can see the recently transaction is appeared. And I also have created a roll-up summary field on the parent object, which is counting how many transaction is done by this customer. You can see till now this customer has done 5 transactions. Where we can see these 5 transactions, go to the related record, and here you can see the transaction IDs. Here is 5 transactions. Now we want to convert this master data relationship into the lookup relationship. For that, click on a gear icon, go to the setup, then object manager, and search for the transaction object, because we creates the relationship on the child object, and the transaction is the child object of bank account. Click on a transaction, then field and relationships. Here you can see in the data type master data relationship with the account holder. Before that, I want to show you. Here I am clicking on enter amount field, and as I click on edit button, here you can see change field type option. Using this option, we can change this field type into the different data type. But in the case of this master data relationship,
Come on. Seven. Okay, so what we need to understand this part. Hmm. Let's get back to the questions. What is the benefit of the talent application in multi-tenant environment? Hmm. Enforcing unit fastness and coverage fast practice. Nope. Access to predefined computing resources. Why? What are you talking about? In a multi-tenant architecture, Salesforce provides predefined computing resources that are shared and managed by the platform. Developers don't need to worry about providing servers or managing performance. Salesforce imparts the users to governor limits to ensure no tenant monopolizes resources. Why the others are incorrect? Salesforce provides guidelines and limits that encourage best practice, but they are not automatically enforced beyond governor limits. Hmm. Okay. Okay. Well done. When a user edits a postal code and account, the custom account text, field name, time zone must be updated based on the value in another custom object called postal code time zone C. What's the optimal way to implement this feature? When a user edits a postal code on account, a custom account text field name time zone must be updated based on the value in another custom object. Mm, I need best practice for developer. What? What's the best is the optimal way to implement this feature? The options have nothing to do with the question. At least it seems to me. The options is access to predefined computer resources, enforced best practice for development, unlimited processing power memory default. Oh yeah, this question is just incorrect. You incorrect. Record created flow is optimal. What's the result of the following code? Account A equals new account. Database insert A false. I don't know the false part. I really don't. I can't remember the database insert. When we use these, we can retrieve some good information. In fact, the record will be created and no error will be reported. The record will be created and a message will be regular. The record will be created. Okay. No, no, why? False parameter in database insert means that do not use partial save. In other words, roll back if an error occurs, but do not show a runtime exception. Instead of throwing the alarm exception, just first return the database save results object that contains instances of the details. Here's what happens. The account is missing a required field like name. The insert fails, just all or none false. No exceptions true, but the record is created. But the record is not created. The developer can check the result. Save results dot success. Developer at um, 8W. HDB computing is tasked with the supporting test class for a programmatic customization that leverages record stored within the custom object pricing structure. Um, HDB computing can complete pricing structure for each item on the store, spanning more than 500 records. Which two approaches can developers use to ensure passing structured records are available when the test class is executed? Use a test data factory class. What? We have two correct answers. How this works? Why? Which two approaches can developer use to ensure? Oh, I had to choose two of them. I didn't get this part. Okay, that's a factor I got, but the other one I didn't get. Why? When writing Apex test class, data from the org is not available by default. So the developer must ensure the test was has its own data or explicitly allows access to existing org data. And what about what's the result of the following code snippet? Public void do work account. Okay, we have a method. This method receive an account, uh, and it would iterate 1 to 200 and insert account. We will insert the same account 200 times. While one is smaller equal to 200. 201 accounts answered. Why? void just because the account don't have a name. The loop runs 200. It's not inside the loop. Oh, it is inside the loop. I didn't understand. It's weird. Maybe the questions in this one that I bought is just wrong. This is the at least the third one. I have seven, and three was wrong questions. When using Salesforce DX, what does a developer need to enable to create and manage a stretching org? Scratching org. Sandbox? DevHub? I don't know. DevHub uses Salesforce org to create a production org or a business org that has a DevHub feature enabled. It acts as a control center for managing stretch orgs, secondary generation batches, and other Salesforce DX operations. Without enabled devs hub in an org, you cannot create and manage stretch orgs via the Salesforce CLI or other DX tools. The other options, production, not a specified feature. DevHub is enabled production org, but production alone isn't what you enable. Okay. The developer needs to create a baseline set of data, counts, contacts, products, assets, or entire suite of tasks, allowing them to test independent requirements. Various types of Salesforce cases. Each approach can effectively generate the required data for each unit test. Hmm. The developer needs to create a baseline set of data, selecting the accounts, contacts, products, assets for the entire suite of tests, allowing them to test independently, requirement various types of CSS classes. Each approach can effectively generate the required data for each unit test. which statement generates a list of leads and contacts that have appeared with phrase acne. A list of leads and contacts that have appeared with phrase acne. SOSL. Never heard about SOSL.
Welcome everyone. Today we will dive into SOSL, Salesforce powerful search language which helps you to find out exactly what you need across multiple objects, making data retrieval faster and efficient like never before. So without wasting any time further, let's proceed with the video. SOSL stands for Salesforce Object Search Language, and it is a search language of Salesforce. It is used to perform text searches in records. So I quote it over here, text searches. Now we use SOSL to search fields across multiple standard and custom object records in Salesforce. Though it may seem similar to SOQL, but they are different. So let's first see what is the difference between SOQL and SOSL. Now, SOQL or SOQL is used to search only on one object or multiple related objects, whereas in SOSL, many objects, whether they are related or unrelated, can be searched at a time. In SOQL, you can query any type of field, whereas in SOSL, you can query email, text or phone type of field. So basically, as I said, text-based searches. SOQL can be used in classes and triggers. So SOQL can be used completely in your Apex code. Whereas in SOSL, you cannot use it in triggers, though they are applicable in Apex classes, but in triggers, SOSL cannot be used. Now, DML operation can be performed on the result of your query if you are querying it with SOQL. But DML operation on the result of an SOSL search cannot be performed. A SOQL query starts with select clause or statement, whereas SOSL starts with find clause, and SOQL return records, whereas SOSL return fields. So after understanding the key differences between them, let's see how we can use SOSL. Now the general syntax of SOSL looks something like this, where it starts with find, then you have a search query, then you will have a search group, then you will specify what would be the returning values with division filters, data categories, snippet, network, price book ID, metadata, and limit. So definitely it seems to be very complicated, right? But most of these contents are optional. So let me show you a brief syntax or a smaller syntax of it. So a smaller syntax or a basic syntax of SOSL looks something like this, where you will have a find, you will have a search query. Now this search query can be written inside single quotes or can be written inside curly braces. So it depends, and I will tell you when you will use single quotes and when you will use curly braces. After the search query, you will mention the search group, and then after, finally you will mention the returning objects and fields. So this is the basic SOSL syntax. Let me show you an example of it. So here you can see I'm finding proper, so it is find proper in all fields returning account and name. So here proper is what? It is nothing but a search query. In all fields is a search group. Account name, contact first name, last name, lead first name, opportunity are nothing but the returning objects and fields. So what it will do? It will try to search proper in all the fields. And when I say all the fields means all the valid fields. As I told you, you can search on email, you can search on text, you can search on phone. So it will search on all the fields and the result it will return with account object, contact object, lead object and opportunity object. And from the account object, it will show their name field. From the contact, it will show their first name and last name. From the lead, it will show their first name. And from the opportunity, let's see what it will show because we haven't mentioned any field over there. So let's quickly go to our org and see how an SOSL search is made. So guys, here we are on our developer console and whenever we were writing down SQL query, we were using query editor. So the same SOSL search or SOSL query can be written over here as well. So as I told you, it starts with find. So let me write down find over here. After that, let me write down proper. So I'm looking for proper. Then after I will mention where, so in all fields, and then after I will mention returning and the objects and the field name. So let me mention account, there I will mention name, or let me mention the rest of it and then we will talk about it. So here you can see I'm finding proper in all fields, returning from these objects and these fields. So it is exactly same that is shown over there in the slide. Now let me click on execute and here you can see the result that I'm getting. So though I was asking.
Okay, now we know what is a SOSL. Never used. Now I know. Multiple objects. Okay. Very limited usage. A developer must create a Lightning component that allows users to input contact record information to create contact record, including salary custom field. What should developer use along the Lightning record edit form so that salary field function are as a current input is only visible and editable by users that have the correct field level permission. Hmm. Hmm. To include input contact, we have a form, Python input number, Python input currency, uh, when using Lightning Record Edit form, the correct way to include fields that are respecting field level security and automatically handle the data type like currency is use Lightning input field option optionality A. I didn't get. No need to understand this. what can be easily developed using Lightning component framework. And that is you. Okay. This is harder than I imagined. Trust.